I'm going to show you how to install a Node app as a system service on OS X. So for that, I'm going to use Package Manager. You need to go to developer.apple.com, go to the Mac Dev Center, and then look here for View All Downloads. You'll have to sign in. If you're not already signed in, you can just sign in with your iTunes account, or if you don't have a developer account, you can create one using the same information as your iTunes account, I think. Anyway, so I would be getting Xcode. I've already downloaded and installed this. But you would get Xcode, you would get command line tools. I've already downloaded and installed that as well. And then you'd also need Package Maker, which is in auxiliary tools. I've already downloaded and installed that. Inside of the DMG is the Package Maker, and I think you just drag it out into your application folder. I think it's how that works. So what I've got here on github.com/koolage86/hello-node is an example app that I'm doing a couple of these tutorials, so I'm not going to spend a lot of time on explaining in each one how this server works. But basically all I've got is a simple server that loads an index.html and then has a request to /count. So it's just a connect app, and then the purpose of this /count resource is so that we can test that we can make a directory, that we can read from a file, that we can write to a file, that we can do a web request. So that'll make sure that this app has permissions to access things that it needs to access and get through a firewall if it would need to. So that's the entire purpose of that. And then there's the Connect app itself is in that server, and then under bin server is just a little snippet that will start it. So enough said about that. I'll go ahead and copy the git URL for it and just clear that out. Do git clone. This will take a minute. Okay, now that is downloaded, I'll go ahead and go into the directory hello node, and I'll go ahead and go into the directory Mac install. Actually, let me go up one first, back to the root directory there, and just open this up in Finder. And I'm going to go ahead and open up Package Maker, and I'm going to use the bogus organization herpderp, so com.herpderp, and I don't want to support anything from the pre-Intel era, so I'm selecting Leopard, although I think Node supports older ones, so it shouldn't actually be a problem. Anyway, so this is all my app stuff. So I'll go ahead and drag that onto the contents pane here as part of what gets installed, and then specific to the Mac installation, there is this plist file. It's an XML file that's basically the equivalent of a Ubuntu upstart that actually shows how the service is started. But these are the only files that are being installed as part of my app. So I'm going to go ahead and, well, first, let me go to the configuration here. I'll give this the title, Hello Node. I only want people to be able to do the easy install. I want to keep it as simple as possible. Don't want to let them select a volume really. Just use system volume and description. NodeJS app that runs as a system service. I don't think I got to worry about any of that. Here, I want this to go to opt as its destination, so it'll be /opt/hello node. Let's see. I do want it to require admin authentication. I do want it to include root in package. That makes it /op/hello node instead of /op, and then all of these things directly in there. I'm going to click apply recommendations. What that's going to do is fix ownership permissions. That's just going to take a minute, or less than a minute. That was oddly fast. Now I'm going to go under components, nothing there, scripts. I don't think I need anything for that. Okay, for this one, this needs to go, let me open up my README here, /library/launch daemons. That's where that needs to be installed to. That's where the system service plist files go that are controlled with launch control. And same thing here. I need to fix the permissions. Okay, so for some reason that the permissions didn't get fixed on that one. I'm going to go ahead and do this manually. So sudo chown root staff mac install package payload plist. Alright, I'm actually going to go ahead and delete this because I know that it will cause a problem if the permissions aren't correct. It will cause a failure. At least I tried this before and it caused a failure for me. Okay, so now the permissions are what they ought to be. Root and staff. Maybe there's just a bug with this application where it doesn't correct permissions of single files. Anyway, and now I need to go back here, put that back correctly again. Yes, this requires admin authentication as well. And then this does need a script. So this is the script directory, and I've got a script named post install and pre-install, and they're executable files. I'll show you those in just a moment. And then since it's already called pre-install and post-install, it knows which script it's supposed to use, otherwise it would allow me to select the path. So I think that's it for the configuration. I do want to make this hidden. I don't want the person to be able to choose something else. That wouldn't really make sense. Same thing here, but I want that to be hidden, because if they unselect it, then it won't really work. And then, let's see, easy install only, system volume selected. Looks all good. I could edit the interface. This is just what has like the intro and the license file and that sort of stuff. You can change the background image to be something you want. I might actually change the background image to be something fun. So I went back to the beginning and I chose this file that I have, and you can't see what you're supposed to be read behind it, but I don't care. This is just for fun. So I did scaling proportional and alignment center. Could maybe do alignment bottom. Meh. Whatever. Anyway, so I'll close out of that. And now, I wanted to show you what those scripts were. So actually, the node script can really be, it actually should be in a separate package, so maybe I'll change that later. But for the pre-install script for Node, I just checked to see if Node's already installed, what version it is, and then just a really hacky bash script that determines if it can be safely upgraded or not, or if it needs to be upgraded at all. And that's all this pre-install script is. And then it does install, uses installer -pkg package target / and then that package is the Node version that I'm including, which is v0.10.4. The post install script is what's a little bit more important. The post install script applies directly to that plist file, because once that gets copied over in launch daemons, it needs to be, if there's an existing one from a previous installation, that needs to be unloaded, and then the new one needs to be loaded. I was also testing out the newer way of, the newer way of using launch control, but it didn't work for me. I didn't understand what was wrong, so I didn't do that. And let me also just show this plist here, some interesting features that can be turned on. I have the standard out path and standard error path and debug commented out right now, but those could be uncommented. Keep alive is true. Keep alive is true. Username is root, so this will run as root. Oh, here's an important point. So I have this calling node directly and then this executable server. I could, in theory, call the server directly, but because the root user, when this is run, user local bin is not in that user's path, so this would fail to run if I only had that. So that's why I have it with both. If I wanted to specify in this file /user local bin node, then I wouldn't have to do this, because I would just be calling that executable directly, not calling the node executable and passing that as an argument. Really, they're the same. This is better for my purpose here, because I want my file, this file, to be as generic as possible. And maybe on another system, node is installed into user bin node or whatever. So I've just made it so that this installer, since this installer is installing node, it uses node there. And I could probably do something, I don't know if I could maybe somehow check to see where node is installed and change that dynamically. Maybe somebody else can figure that out and post a comment about it. Anyway, so all that is done, and let's see, I've got node installed right now. And I'm just going to remruff it real quick. So user local bin node. Just get it nice and borked to show that my installer does work. Tested it a little bit, so if node is a previous version, it actually will upgrade it. But yeah, let's just build and run this real quick. So I'll go ahead and save this into my hello node Mac install directory. And when I tried this before, I was getting some warnings. Those warnings were problems with permissions, problems with not having the system volume selected. So here we go. And I'll just click next through it. I have to enter in my username or my password, because this is running with root privileges. So it's installing Node, and it's also installing my Node app and launching the service. So now, if I go to localhost, boom! The number's starting off at 5 because I did have it installed before. So yeah, there we've got it. A working Node app installer. And something cool that I might like to add on to this that I did for the Windows one is make like maybe a little shortcut or something that could go in the dock that would automatically launch Chrome in app mode. Other than that, maybe include Chrome in the package as well. But other than that, it's pretty good. It works. So I do want to save this. So file, save as, and I'll just overwrite the one that I made earlier. Great. And there we are. If this was useful for you, please go ahead and give that little thumbs up button a nice click. Also, you'll see the notes are in the comments section down below. You can either at the end of the article or right up at the top. Give it a like, tweet, +1, whatever. Thanks.